Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. It is an awesome July evening, July 13th, 2022. Lots going on real estate wise, area wise, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, all through Hampton Roads, Williamsburg. And so it's a great time to talk about a lot of different things. But tonight we're going to be getting into neighborhoods in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Norfolk. And so what I thought was I would say, hey, send me any of the questions you have about areas in Virginia Beach or Norfolk or Chesapeake through Williamsburg, because that's what I do. I help people all through the area, and I know the area really well. And so send me any questions you have. You can put them in the chat below. But today we're going to be primarily talking about my top 10 neighborhoods in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Norfolk. And so I've got them ranked 10 through 1. And there are some nuanced elements here as to why I picked these 10. But there are other neighborhoods I like as well. And you can, again, ask me questions to get in more detail about those as well. But we're going to start from 10 and go to 1. I'll show you on the map. I'll try and drop down on Google Maps to show you what the areas kind of feel like. Also show you pricing and what recent sales prices have been in that area, because they're the top 10 neighborhoods right now is going to be under $500,000 or around $500,000, because as the prices have gone up in the area, it has become much harder to find the area that you want that checks all the boxes under that $500,000 threshold. Now, there are some other neighborhoods I like that are higher. I love a lot of spots across the area, but I'm trying to get really specific about neighborhoods that I think I like the best. And so if you're looking for an area in the South Side, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Chesapeake primarily, these are the ones I would target and just consider for various reasons. And we're going to go into all those reasons as we go. So you can also, again, put your comments in the chat as well. You can also tell me where you're watching from. Where are you watching from as people come into the chat? Where are you watching from? Are you looking locally? Are you watching from the West Coast? Are you from a different country? Where are you watching from? I'd love to know. It's interesting to see where people are watching from. So that's the main thing. If you have any questions or comments, please put that in the chat. But I'm going to start with my top 10 neighborhoods, and we'll keep going. So if you have any questions, chime in, throw them in as we go. So number 10 is a neighborhood. You might not have heard a lot of these neighborhoods because they are very specific, neighborhoods or general, like it's not a whole area like go to Great Bridge School District. These are neighborhood specific, so you can know more about the micro parts of the area. Williamsburg, awesome. Hey, Jaylene, put that on there. Williamsburg. Awesome. Very cool. Welcome to the chat. And so number 10 is, and then also too, if you have questions about Williamsburg, again, I love talking about Williamsburg, James City County, York County as well. I can throw information in there as well, but this one, the top 10 is for those three cities, but I can add and embellish on anything else you might like as well. So Norfolk, cool. Hey, Isaiah, good to see you again this week. So number 10 is Norcova Estates. So Norcova Estates is, I would say, not a unknown neighborhood. It's well known amongst people that live here. Like locals often know about Norcova Estates, or they know where the neighborhood is at least. They might not know the name of Norcova Estates. So this area it's a mixture of prices. It's a mixture of styles of house, but primarily the houses are like more brick ranch and 2-story style in the $300,000 to $400,000 price range. Now, the reason I mentioned this one, the reason I like it in the top 10 is because I like the price for location. And so I'm going to show you on the map where Norcova Estates is. So if you see, there's Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake down here. Now I'm doing this all by memory, so bear with me. But essentially, as you go down through Talbot Parkway and Kempsville Road, you come down all the way around closer to the edge of Chesapeake City Park. Well, as you get into Greenbrier, this whole Greenbrier area here, Norcova Estates is right next to Greenbrier. So the section right here, this whole neighborhood right here is considered Greenbrier or Norcova Estates. And it's right off Greenbrier Parkway. And it's close to, for example, Greenbrier Country Club right there. You can get there in 2 minutes. You're also close to the greater Greenbrier area, which has Greenbrier Mall. It has lots of big box stores, Target, Best Buy, tons of restaurants, Eden Way. I mean, anything like that's like the center of Chesapeake, and what's becoming more of the center of Chesapeake because Dollar General is right here next to Crossways Boulevard. They're building what I would consider a kind of a minor downtown there. Wasserhund has a new location there. Luce has a second location, the Great Italian Restaurant right there. First Watch, a good breakfast place right there off of Volvo, which is right next to that Dollar Tree area. I'm going to show you here. This is getting bigger, but this is it's not a metropolis by any stretch, but there's a lot of activity that's getting built up. So if you're close to that, it's very important. So you're close to that in Norcova Estates. So Norcova Estates are right here, and you can see there's a lot of brick ranches, two-story houses. I'm going to drop down below here. This is Cranston Drive. So there's a lake that's right off of Cranston that you can also, I mean, it's not a huge lake, but if you want a little lake access, you can get that for a relatively low price in the $300,000 to $400,000 price range, and even in the upper two sometimes, because some of these houses have 3-bedroom and 1.5 baths. So this is a place that if you want a location that's prime, you might have to give up something to get in the price range that you want to stay lower in. And this is a good example of that. You might do 1.5 baths, but get the style of house or location that you want. It's extremely, extremely convenient. Larger yards in a lot of cases you see there, but as well as you notice, it's more of a country, kind of a Chesapeake feel where you've got the curbs. There's no sidewalks, which again, it's a quiet neighborhood, but you see ditches on the sides. Very typical for the 50s and 60s in this area for that to be the case. So it's a great area for the price range. And I'm going to show Norcova Estates on the, I'm still learning how to share screens. I'm going to, let's see, go to, I'm going to share with another screen. Here is my MLS. So if I look at Norcova Estates, if I look at Norcova Estates, you will see you won't see too many houses hit the market. In the last 6 months, 6 have hit the market and sold. But you see the price range, $300,000 to $350,000. You'll see some just under $300,000 in that 1,000 to 1,500 square foot ish range. But you'll see some that are larger, just not recently. I haven't seen any that have sold recently. So that's something to keep in mind if you want something that is priced in that lower price range. That's why I like Norcova Estates. So let me go back to the number 9. Number 9, I like number 9 because it has shot up in price. It's been in demand a lot for people that have lived in other areas that like certain styles of houses because it's hard to find the style in the price range, but it's Courthouse Estates. The reason I like Courthouse Estates is actually the opposite of what I mentioned in other videos. I actually mentioned this neighborhood before about places not to buy. And the reason I was saying that was because I was worried about the prices going too high. The reason they've been going too high is because the demand has been so high to me from people that have been living in other areas, and not to mention people that are from this area. And I think the reason is because if you look at the map, and I'll show you Mary Irby, Chesapeake. Hey, Mary, nice to see you. If you look on the map, I'm going to share my back to the map again. You'll see that Courthouse Estates, and I'm doing this again all by. Oops, bear with me. Da, 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 da. There we go. It is all coming over to the east. Where are we going? Courthouse Estates. Doing it by, let's see, over here. There we go. There we go. Right here. This neighborhood is built in the late 90s, like 2000-ish, but it's more of an in-demand school district, Kellam School District, which is a very in-demand school district that is right next to it. But it's kind of in the country, mixed with country and mixed with like suburbia. But the reason why people like it, I'll drop a pin so you can see. Let's just drop anywhere. You'll see the type. The style of house here is very specific because it has a lot of houses, a very high concentration of houses that have an open floor plan, open foyer entrance area. You see right there, you see those for example, one is the frogs. As you see the frog, that's a very dark picture. But the rooms over the garages, those are very common. That's kind of like the bonus room you find in what's a good example of a place that if you see, for example, if you see a house that's listed that has four or 5 bedrooms, there are often times where you'll see that bedroom there is the 4th or 5th bedroom. And so what people don't realize is they expect, when they look online, look at a listing, they think 4 or 5 bedrooms, they think they're traditional bedrooms. That is not always what people think of as a traditional bedroom. And so what happens is they get frustrated because they have an expectation of the area being like having all the bedrooms that they want, and in actuality it's not. But some people love these frogs because there are larger rooms, larger bedrooms than the other rooms in the house. And so you lose some stuff, you lose some closet space sometimes, but you also often have bigger rooms. They're usually good for offices, good for play areas. But this area has the largest concentration to me in the price range of open floor plans. You see that archway right there? That is like an open area as you walk in. The foyer is open, the floor plans are open. And so you can stay in that $500,000 and under price range and get that style of house that is very hard to find. So if you come and zoom out, you're close to golf, you're close to shopping, you're close to Princess Anne Road, which runs all up and down here near hospital, TCC, Target, you got Home Depot. I mean, everything up and down Princess Anne Road. And so but you're also in a spot that feels relatively country. So if you drop on North Landing Road right here, drop a pin, it's country, like it feels like it. And so this area was developed in the late 90s, and it was kind of, it was back then, there wasn't much else going on. But it's a really nice, entrance spot as you drive in. It's well manicured, nice little HOA. So it feels like you're secluded, but you're not really. So going back over into my MLS, I'm going to show you the MLS screen so you can see how much things are in Courthouse Estates. Courthouse Estates right now, I'm going to show you, there usually are a few that pop up at any point in time. So there's 40 that have been listed and sold in the last 6 months. So if you see here, you'll see 525, 470, 491. I'll show you the pictures of some of these that have gone up and sold in this price range. Decent amount of pools, 470. You got some of them are on the lakes in the upper 4s range, like close to 5. Some have gone over 5. And you'll see some that are close to 6. But people, I think what's happening is people have often bought these houses based on things they see online, pictures they see online, and they like them. But this is a more popular floor plan and style of house to me in other parts of town that have newer neighborhoods built in it. So I think that's one of the reasons why the demand is higher for this style of house. So in general, I'd say if you want Courthouse Estates, I think that's a good reason to go after it. So let's just shift over to number 8, which is Talbot Park in Norfolk. Number 8. So I like Norfolk for a lot of reasons. You might say, if you are from this area and you're watching this, you're like, why are you picking Talbot Park over so many other areas in Hampton Roads or in Norfolk? The reason I like Talbot Park, and I'm going to go back to the map, is I think Talbot Park is great because it has the accessibility to a lot of parts of downtown Norfolk. And it also has access to the Ghent area. And so let me show you where Talbot Park is. I'm sorry. Go up here. There it is right there. So it's just off of Granby Street. Granby Street runs north and south up to the very northern part near Norfolk's Navy base, near Ocean View, all the way down into the areas just east of Colonial Place and also Ghent itself. And so Talbot Park is great because you're far away from spots that, you're not too far away from spots like Ghent and like ODU, for example, West Ghent, that has a lot of action going on, a lot of restaurants, all the nightlife in downtown Norfolk. You're 10 to 12 minutes away from most of the places like that. Now, the next thing, though, is that if I drop a pin, you'll see that the styles of houses are still quite nice. They're in that 50s, 40s, 30s construction back in, 1930, 1940. This was a newer up and coming neighborhood. Well, it's a great spot, and it's for the price. I love the feel of it. And I keep going, continue on here so you can see more about the neighborhood. But it's got elements of it that even are more like mid-century modern and like very subtle areas and very subtle houses or specific streets. But again, for the price in the 4s, you can get houses in the even upper 3s, sometimes mostly 4 to 5, or even possibly near the water. If I zoom out, you'll see the water is right there. So you're not that far. There's some houses on the water that are over $1 million, well over $1 million. But you're close to Granby Street. You're close to private school access that a lot of people that are in Norfolk want to have because they may not want the public schools. So that's another reason why being in Talbot Park is nice. However, one of the other big reasons, in addition to being convenient off Granby Street, is that you don't require flood insurance in most of the area. So one of the drawbacks to me of parts of Norfolk is that you need flood insurance in a lot of areas. For example, Larchmont needs flood insurance in a lot of spots in the neighborhood. Part of Colonial Place needs it on the edges along the Lafayette River, especially on the north side as well. And then part of Ghent also needs it as well. But Talbot Park, for the most part, does not need it. And I'm going to show you what I mean when I go back to the MLS. So when you go to the MLS and I show you first of all, how many houses have sold in there, but I'm also going to show you how to look for flood insurance on the MLS, at least how I can do it, because it really can make a difference and help you figure out if you want a house or not. So you're looking at the map. If you go back, looking at the houses, you see in the 3s, in the 4s. I'm going to zoom out here so you see closed prices: 375, 425, 450. Then of course there's one right near closer to the water, large house near $1 million. And there's some that are even still under contract in the 4 to 5 range, in the 2,000, 3,000 square foot range. But if you look, I'm going to click on the Carlisle Way here. So we're going to look and we're going to see the flood map. So if you look at the flood map, so Zone X is the area that does not require flood insurance. And anywhere in the area includes areas that need flood, or that all the areas have flood zones in them. So every house resides in a flood zone. That does not mean that you're going to be prone to flooding. It just means that the whole area is mapped for flooding in case. So if you're in AE, if you're in, A, but primarily AE is the main area that requires flood insurance that you'll see the most frequently. And so Talbot Park, you see most of this area lies in X. You'll see a few spots right along the corner, right near the water itself. But for the most part, most of the houses, even near the water, will be sitting in the flood zone X flood zone, even X500 there as well, which usually does not require flood insurance as well. A lot of this depends on where the house is sitting in the zone in the neighborhood, or in the floodplain. But the point being is, see how much orange is in Talbot Park and does not require flood insurance in most cases until you get down further south. So that's one of the reasons why I love this neighborhood, because it does not require the flood insurance, not nearly as much, and you can get closer access to Ghent. You can get closer access to downtown Norfolk in 10 to 12 minutes or so, and not to worry about the things you might have to think about with flood insurance in other parts of Norfolk. So now it leads us to another neighborhood in Norfolk that I like a lot, called Pinewell. Pinewell is great because it is a neighborhood that, for the price, an amazing spot, because a lot of these neighborhoods or houses are very, very low price. And I say low price, I'm talking about under $350,000, $400,000. So I'm going to show you where Talbot Park is. If you zoom out, you see, I'll show you where Pinewell is. Ocean View is along the ocean shore, or along the bay shore on the top part here. So West Ocean View, you've got Ocean View here. The reason why I'm mentioning Ocean View is because Pinewell is close to here, but being close access to ocean, and also being in a neighborhood that you want to live in and really kind of grow in, and it be nice and quiet, there's a demand for that. And Pinewell has all of the variables, to me, that make a beach access spot really, very valuable. Here's Pinewell right here, right across the street from the beach. And so there are some parts in Ocean View that are pretty either run down and kind of hit and miss. But if you go right over Ocean View Golf Course, this is Ocean View Golf Course right here. Next to it is where Pinewell is. Drop a pin. Let's see right here. Okay. See what I'm talking about? This type of road, this is unlike any other part of Norfolk with the style of trees that are along the sides of the roads. So number one is the trees. Number two is the sidewalks along the roads. Number three is how far the houses, most of them, are set back off of the main road. This is also pretty uncommon as well. In parts of Norfolk, you'll find a lot of the houses are more closer together. You'll see a lot of those military, Second World War military style houses built in the early 40s, and you'll see they're a lot closer together. 3-bedroom, 1-bath Cape Cod style houses. Well, these have some Cape Cod style in them, but they just have a totally different environment and feel to it, in addition to the fact that you're that close to the beach. You literally can walk across the street from Ocean View Avenue and get to the beach. So there's Dansman on the Bay. There's Ocean View Park right there. You're right down the street from all of that. Now, I'm going to show you how much they've been running recently. They've gone up in price to a certain degree, but in general, they have not gone up nearly as much as I think they should. Or in general, I think they have potentially some more room up to go. So let me show you, share my MLS again. It's probably a more efficient way for me to do this, but right now, there we go. So all these right here, you see across Ocean View. This Pinewell on the Bay is not a place I want to include. There we go. Let's focus on that there. So the price range here, you'll see some even there as low as like 145 is kind of an anomaly, but 2s, you'll see them in the 4s. You'll see them even in the 3s a lot of times. Under contract 329 or for sale 329 on Granby Street. Sherwood Place 485, 515, but in the 350 to 450 range, it's kind of hard to beat this neighborhood, especially if you can get a house, the 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom variety. Really hard to find anything that matches what is in Pinewell with the access to the beach. So that's number 7. Number 6, this is where we're going to shift back over to Virginia Beach, which is Brigadoon. So if we're going to go back out, here's the overhead view of Hampton Roads. And if you look back, Virginia Beach is right here. Going down, you'll see there's a great spot in the center part of Virginia Beach called, it's in a lot of areas. It's called, I like Kempsville. It's named Kempsville, but there's a neighborhood called Brigadoon, which is just south of the center part of Kempsville, which is right near Providence Road and also near Kempsville Road. And as you drive down Kempsville, you'll see this neighborhood near Albright Drive. Right there it is, right there. This neighborhood right here is near Lake Christopher, which is a kind of more prominent neighborhood for the price. But you're close to that, but you're also in a pretty convenient spot close to a lot of things. So if I drop a pin, you'll see really nice, like it's in a sense basic in one sense, nothing super fancy. You get some 2-story, you got some 1-story. But for the price, you can get houses in here like 2,500 square feet, 23, 27 for 450, 475. And you can get houses that like 1,800, 2,000 square feet for still under 450, $400,000. And so you're also accessible to lots of busy parts of town. So if you zoom out, you'll see Lynn Haven Parkway that takes you to Greenbrier, close to where we were originally, as well as 64. You're about 5 minutes away, 6 minutes away from Interstate 64, which takes you to 264, taking you to the rest of Virginia Beach. This whole area, in like the whole zone here, it's being close to this area is very, very important. So you got to have a spot that is very convenient. So that being said, I'm going to show you the market for Brigadoon and show you some houses that have sold in the last few months. 54 have sold in the last 180 days. But if you look on the map or look on the listings, you'll see 380, 350, 435. You got a 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house for 435. And how much they've sold for. They're selling for in and around asking price. You'll see some that are going about 40, 50 over asking price over the last few months, as you can expect. But, in that 465, 430, 406, it's very hard to see any that are over 5. And that's why I like this area, because it has a lot more affordable houses for the price range. There's one that's under contract now for in the 440s. That is on Brocky Street. Look at that size of that house. I think that's the 5-bedroom floor plan. 5 bedrooms, 445. Hard to find that in most of the convenient parts of Virginia Beach. And so there's most of them, like Brocky Street's a big one, but you'll see a lot of 4-bedroom houses, a lot of those mixture of brick and vinyl. In this neighborhood, I want to mention this, including this in other areas I've mentioned, because a lot of these houses are older. Some pros and cons to the older houses. The cons, one of the biggest cons right now of the older houses is that there are sewer lines that are about to be needing to be replaced. Not just sewer lines, but also, you'll see like in the 30s and 40s, they were an issue in this part of town because, in the 50, 60, 70 year range, you'll see that those sewer lines that connect from the house to the street need to be replaced because they start breaking down. Tree roots start growing in and bust up the line. People had to spend $10, $12, $15,000 to replace the sewer line from their house to the street. The reason is because it's very uncommon for common or typical homeowners insurance to cover that sewer line. So the reason I'm mentioning this now is because ask your insurance company to look into to see if they have any options for insuring that sewer line, having like an overlay, like a rider essentially that attaches, that is included in your insurance policy that factors in the chances of that sewer line needing to be replaced. Because if it's not in there, even though they might fix some things in the house, if there's a problem with the sewer line, they're not going to replace that line, and that line is the most expensive part. So that's, as far as the older houses go, that's one of the most important things to keep in mind. And that applies for Brigadoon, Pinewell, Talbot Park, and Norcova Estates, as well as some others that will be coming up next. Next is number 5 is Etheridge Woods. Etheridge Woods is in Chesapeake, and it's in the southern part. It's one of the more southern parts of the area that I think is worth mentioning. And it's in a spot in the Hickory School District, which is one of the big benefits of being in Etheridge Woods. There are a lot of neighborhoods in this area and off Etheridge, which is off of this long road called Centerville Turnpike, as well as off Route 168, which is called the Bypass, which goes all the way down into Mooryock, southeastern or northeast North Carolina, as well as up into Chesapeake, the northern part of Chesapeake, into Norfolk, downtown Norfolk. This bypass, being close to this, is very helpful, and you are in Etheridge Woods. And so being close to Etheridge Manor Boulevard and Centerville Turnpike allow you quick access to the bypass, which can get you access to the rest of the area relatively well. You're 10, 15-ish, 17 minutes away from Greenbrier. Shopping is very easy. Getting close to a golf course, Battlefield Golf Club, not the best golf course in the world, but fine. I'm going to drop a pin in this part of the area so you can see it. And same idea. You got these houses are built mostly in the 80s, some in the 90s, and it's a very established neighborhood. I have friends, some of my best friends I grew up with back in high school lived in this general area, and I have friends that grew up, near some of these houses. And this is a very solid 3, 4, 5-bedroom house neighborhood. You'll see some that are over $500,000, but most will be in that 4 to 5 range. And you're next to a neighborhood called Etheridge Lakes that is in the 5 to 6 plus price range. That's very nice to be close to. And so some good Christmas lights in this area too. So you got some Cape Cod style. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of those as much, but I like this 2-story here. This is about 2,800 square feet if I was to guess. That frog right there is very common. But this area extremely well taken care of, and for the price, I think is an extremely good value. And so if I'm going to switch over to the MLS, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about as far as the style of house and how much they end up going for and closing for right now. So if I put that in, Woods 13, there you go. Mildenhall Drive. There's that 4.2, 2,527 square feet for $460. And you'll see another one, Baden, good example, 465, 2,400 square feet, 2.5. Beckley, this is what you call it, almost like a Great Bridge Special, 2,000 square foot in the 477 range, probably very nice inside. But you'll see in that 4 to 5 range, a lot of options come up. Houses that have closed in the neighborhood, 460, 465. Again, you'll see them push up to 5 and just over, and it went under contract over 5. But most of them 2 to 2,500 square feet in the 4 to 475, 490 price range. And I think for the price, for location, for school district, love it for what you get, and you have the highest concentration of that the style of house in the school district that I see in most of Hampton Roads for the Caliber School District. So that leads us back over to, I'm going to go back over to the map and go into number 4, which is Red Mill Farm. Have you ever heard of Red Mill Farm? If you haven't, you have not been watching enough of my videos, because I love Red Mill Farm because, again, for the price, for the location, which is over in Ocean Lakes near Red Mill Commons, shopping access is awesome. You can get a lot of great options for the price range in the 4 to 5 range for what you can get. So there's Red Mill Boulevard right there. There's Nemo Parkway. Dropping a pin right here, you can get a lot more details. So there we go right here. Kind of feels like parts of Great Bridge, parts of South Chesapeake. And this is why I like it, because it has that same kind of, it's kept up very nicely, does not have an HOA. So, you're going to get that spot where you don't have to need an HOA to encourage people to take care of their lawns, but it's a spot where it has just a nice tree, mature trees, parts of the neighborhoods that are just like the green grass. They take care of their property. And then you're also extremely close to Red Mill Farm, or I'm sorry, Red Mill Commons, which I'm going to go back and show you where on the map Red Mill Commons is, as well as other parts of all the shopping access in Red Mill Farms and around Red Mill Farms. There's Nemo Parkway right here, goes all the way towards Sandbridge, which there's only one way into Sandbridge. Take Sandbridge Road right there, but you're close to one of the highest destination spots in all of Hampton Roads, which is Sandbridge right there. You're about 12 minutes away, 13 from Sandbridge. And so you're close to more restaurants, you're close to Red Robin. There's Red Mill Commons right through here. TJ Maxx, Home Depot. I mean, everything is right. I mean, you're literally across the street from all the shopping that you'll need as far as essentials go. And you can also get the ocean view, or the oceanfront, in about 15 minutes up here along the boardwalk, which is like that 3-mile long boardwalk up and down the beach. So I love location. The drawback here is going to be you will find some jet noise. And so, you'll find, of all the places I'm mentioning, this is the one that has probably the highest jet noise levels. And so if you don't want the jet noise, that's one thing I would say, just be aware of as you think about like where you're going to move to. And if you're local here, please mention here, give some more context as to what you think or how you think that the jet noise factors in if you do plan to move into the area. So I'm going to stop Trey's vlogs. Hey, Trey, do you think they will start doing more newer construction in areas such as Lansdowne or surrounding areas, let's say Municipal Center or others? They have been doing some, to answer your question, and you'll see as well as some over off of Princess Anne and Princess Anne Meadows. So here's the courthouse. What are we going to talk about there? The courthouse is, there we go, right here. Oh, nope, right here. Come on. Here's theater. What am I missing? Oh, sorry, was one over. There's the courthouse right there. Princess Anne Meadows is right here. So this is all a newer construction area, which is now in the 8s. I'm seeing them possibly in the 9s, 750 to 850 now. And there aren't many. Let's see, let me do a overhead. Well, I can't even tell. It's that new. Like these are new right in the last couple of years, these houses in this off Princess Anne Road. But I don't necessarily think they're going to be too much here. There are a couple spots where they've gotten some townhouses that have been built recently in the like general courthouse area. But until actually, now that I think about it, there's not a whole lot else to build unless you're like right off Princess Anne Road. I think it's going to take some time still to get more construction. If you're talking about over near Killam High School, there again, like you see, there are spots, but there's also businesses over there. So each place is going to have to sell that property and then have the city be able to rezone it or make it zonable to build on. So I think part of the reason why it's taking longer to develop over there is because there's just not as many opportunities. That's my own personal opinion, but I also have not looked at anything that has been coming up in the next 6 months to a year for new construction in those parts, like where the farmland has been and has developed. But I know that the city is trying its best to moderate the increase of newer construction houses in the Pungo or the southeastern area of Virginia Beach, so it doesn't just fill with a bunch of houses. Because this is really the only next spot you can build. You can't really build much anywhere else, many other places in Virginia Beach North, because it's all already been built. So that's the reason why that's the next step, but it's just going to take some time because I just don't think Virginia Beach is actively trying to make it that available to build on as well. I think they like the element the way it feels now. So let me go back to where was I looking before? I was at Red Mill Farm. We haven't done Red Mill Farm's pricing yet. So I'm going to show you what Red Mill Farm prices right now are in Red Mill Farm. So we'll share my MLS so you can see that. I hope this is the MLS helpful. Do you like this this part of the live stream? Because I will keep doing it if it is. If you like it, comment below if you like what I doing this extra part of the MLS, so you can kind of see what pricing looks like and all that. But right now, 486, 498, 42s, 2,500 square feet. You'll see in the 450, 475. You'll see them again. They'll bump up. You'll see some of there are a couple new construction. It's new construction in the nines, but fours and fives is very common. Again, in the Red Mill price range, you'll see them bump over 5, and they're testing it, and someone going over 5. This is a good example right here, 948 Gideon. It went under contract over 5, almost 6. Excuse me. And so even in what you consider, it's, hey, Sam, it's not a busy market. What's going on? Well, it still is, and that's something that I think that it would be very important to keep in mind because the cost of houses, while the prices have gone up, and the summertime has made it a little bit slower. By no means is it a place that is now dropping in price quite a bit. I had the hiccups. I'm sorry. So a place like this, 486, it sold 40,000 over asking price about a month ago. Doesn't surprise me. And so I'm going to go back and talk to you face to face. But we're going to go to the top 3 neighborhoods in. Hey, you're going to watch me get rid of the hiccups? Watch this. I'm going to have the hiccups. I'm going to hold my breath. In an count of 10, it will be done. 1, 2, 3. Okay, see what happens. Colonial Place, number 3. I can't believe I did that on the air. Colonial Place, number 3. I love this neighborhood a lot for various reasons. And I told you before I was concerned about it because of the flooding. That's one reason why I don't like part of it. But because of the other things I do like about it, I'm a big fan. So number 1, I'm going to show you, drop a pin on the map. And if you've noticed, my hiccups are gone. So I've showed you Talbot Park. Going down Granby Street, down further, you'll see Colonial Place right here. It's a little peninsula. It's right off of Granby, but it's that much closer to Ghent, Larchmont, really Ghent and downtown Norfolk. So you're like 8 minutes or so from Ghent. You're like 8 to 10 minutes away, if less, not less, from downtown Norfolk. That's just south of there. You just hit Granby, hit Monticello. You're right there. So it's a cool area. It feels, it's got an old kind of it's got a lot of craftsman style houses, first of all, which is why I like part of it. But if I drop a pin like right in the middle, this is I think this is Newport. Yep, Newport Avenue. This is going further north. Look at all the trees, well manicured streets. You got some sidewalks up and down. The styles of houses are more like that 30s, 40s style for the most part. But you'll see a bunch in here, a bunch of styles. You see, you'll even see some newer ones every once in a while. But you got some Cape Cons. It's a mixture. But look at all the trees in bloom. I love it for the price. Demand is high, even though some people still want the school districts. They want the school district. They want the private school if they want to be in some of these spots. If they do have kids and they go to school in Norfolk, but even still, it's even cool. The character, the traffic circle, that kind of thing. But then if you look out, this water access. It's not water access necessarily. It's water view. So the water view from the water, like you see these houses along Mayflower, these are upwards over 5. So the whole neighborhood's not over 5. But in general, you'll still be under 5 for the most part. And I don't know why it's being so difficult to drop. Oh, I guess there we go. So if you notice here, the water right here, you get some water views right along from your house if you're on Mayflower, but most of those are going to be over 5. But you can walk here easily from the rest of Colonial Place, which is why I like it so much. One of the reasons why I like it so much. Now, it's got that feel to it, the cool colonial feel to it. Now, the drawback is, I mentioned the flooding. Now, see how close to sea level or to the shore this water is? It's not uncommon for it to be a huge rain, bad rain, and the water to pool, and it'd be a problem for street flooding. So you'll see a decent amount of street flooding in random parts of the area. But I like the craftsmanship of this neighborhood. I like the accessibility of the neighborhood. So that's why I still like the area even more than a place like Talbot Park, even though I like Talbot Park a lot. Places that flood the most, close to the Lafayette Apartments, this whole section right near the boat slip right here. This parking lot in this area has been known to flood pretty rough before, even in days that don't flood. or that don't rain. So if you drive down Lafayette Boulevard right here, you might run into some flooding. But this section over here, and then on the western side as well. So I'm going to show you my MLS, so I can show you where the floodplains are in Colonial Place to give you some context. So if you go back out, I'm going to type in. Remember, let me know if you like this part of the live stream. So 62 houses have sold in here in the last 6 months, but you see them all like all over the place. But if you look, I'm going to flood map on Connecticut Avenue, for example. See the flooding on the sides. Anything closer to the water, you'll find there's more of a propensity, a likelihood for there needing to be flood insurance in those exterior sections. But if you're on the inside, you won't have that problem nearly as much. But especially on these right side and left sides, you'll see some. And so the north side, I have a client that we were looking at a house on Mayflower, and this section was a bit of an issue. Bad storm, you'll see that I need to find that clip. So my client sent me, so you can see how much rain can pool in that area near Mayflower in really bad storms. So in general, I'd say just be aware of that. You'll see that for the prices, you'll see that the payments will be higher for the same price in another neighborhood that does not need flood insurance. That's one thing to factor in. I'm going to stop here and answer Isaiah's question. For homes around $450 with 5% down, the monthly note will be around $2,500 or higher. I'm single and scared to take on that much debt. Would a townhouse or condo make more sense? So to answer your question, 5% down, that's about 20. Yeah, I think that's probably about right. It might be a bit higher than that, actually. 7.4. Might be about 27. Yeah, maybe about 27, maybe 28. Totally understand that. I don't think there's any wrong answer to this, and it's definitely personal preference there and what your budget and comfort level is. If someone makes $8 million a year, $2,800 a month, not a big deal. If someone doesn't make $800,000 or $8 million a year, different conversation. So again, it's all contextual here. But in general, a lot of people do the townhouse condo element to start with, just to make sure that that's what they like. They like the area, and get some equity down, and then they can turn that into a rental property later. Great idea. But it depends on what your preferences are. But a lot of people that, 5% is pretty typical for down payment, especially in this market. The days of having to put down way more just to prove your worth as a buyer is not really as much now, though they can help, but it's not always going to be as necessary. But yeah, I would say it's contextual, but I wouldn't, just in my mind, for your budget, for what your needs are, I would not overextend yourself beyond what you're comfortable. There's no need to force it to something just because it's a certain price number. But it's up to you. It's up to you. But I hope that answered your question. So we're going to shift over to number 2, which is Las Scaviotas. So Las Scaviotas is a cool neighborhood because it's got an HOA. And I say sometimes I like HOAs, sometimes I don't. But I like this HOA. It's got a golf course. You're surrounded by a golf course, the neighborhood is. And I'm going to back out, and so you can see on the map where Las Scaviotas is. And so if I zoom out, there's Colonial Place, zoom out. Now we're on the south part of Chesapeake, but more on the south central part of the area, close to Chesapeake Golf Club. That's where Las Scaviotas is. So you see where Etheridge Lakes or Woods is on this side. Just keep on going across the bypass, across this area, which is Johnstown Road right here. Keep on going, you'll get a bunch more suburbia, but this is a spot that is very convenient to other parts of Chesapeake. But if you're right off of Cedar Road, this is where a lot of the shopping is. And this is a very popular strip to live off of. And I think it's important to be in an area close by to something like this. And so I think that if you can be in a place this has everything you need, Walmart, you got your 10 minutes away from Sam's, 12 minutes away from Sam's Club, close to maybe 15, but you're close to major intersections that have most of the shopping you're going to need, including grocery stores. But I'm going to drop a pin right where, let's see, where is Las Scaviotas? Right here. So you see here, there's different types of parts of the area. So like Wheeler Drive, this is a great example. also feels similar to parts of Etheridge Woods, so to speak. But some of these houses are 2,000 square feet. Some of these are 28. Some of these are 32. You'll see some larger ones. But you're in a very, very convenient part of town. But you're in a very, like, again, well-kept neighborhood. And this is not uncommon to see. You'll see some vinyl. You'll see some brick. And you'll see just a mixture of styles of house. I love that type of area. I like the mixture. I like the variety. And then you're right next to the Chesapeake Golf Club, which is right behind part of Las Scaviotas. So you're surrounded by it. You got a nice HOA with a pool, which, again, for the price range, also hard to find that type of element in there. So I just like this for that reason. And I'm going to go and show you how much, where prices are landing right now. So you can see, go back to my trusty MLS, and we're going to do Las Scaviotas. And 38 houses in the last 6 months. So same kind of thing. You'll see a decent amount that have gone up for sale. But again, maybe once a week, one comes up here, once every week and a half. But you'll see some in the fives, 545, 585, like the larger houses, 30,000 square feet. Part of this is because of the school district. So you're going to be in a very popular school district that so Grassfield, Great Bridge Middle, Cedar Road Elementary. And so this house, 545, it just closed like 2 weeks ago. But you'll see others you'll see a lot of them in the fives, but you'll see a lot also in the fours, 480. Well, those are twos. You'll see some apartments or townhouse style as well, 480, 490, 489, 479, 485, 499. So you'll see some that are higher than 5. You'll see some that are less than 5. But this is one, if you want the HOA, you want the access to the school district, you want the things that people might be looking for that just are a neighborhood where you might stay for 10, 15, 20 years. Las Scaviotas is a great example of a neighborhood that would work really well for checking pretty much all the boxes if you want to be in Chesapeake. I love Las Scaviotas. You just have to be ready for when a house comes in the market in here because they go pretty quickly, usually. Isaiah, thanks, Ed. You're very welcome, Isaiah. So that leads me to the number one neighborhood, I think, anywhere in the neighborhood, in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and Chesapeake, in the 500,000 and under-ish price range is Kings Grant. I love Kings Grant for a variety of reasons, but it is one of the more in-demand neighborhoods in anywhere in Virginia Beach, in any part of Hampton Roads. It is, if you look in the Virginia Beach, you'll see Little Neck right here. It's a big peninsula that is close to the Lynnhaven Inlet, just north of there. But you have water access along the outside, but Little Neck is a large area. But Kings Grant is part of Little Neck, like the southern part of Little Neck. But for the north you go, these houses up here are 7, 8, 9, $1 million and up. But as you go in the central to the southern part, that's where you get Kings Grant. You have the combination of being close to the real expensive houses nearby, and you also have some that are also along the water that are also well over $1 million. But you also are in a spot that is demand for schools, high demand for schools, but you're also in a spot that's extremely quiet. People that are in here that are here for a long time. Kingston Elementary, I'm going to drop a pin in. Let's just put Queens Grove. It doesn't even really matter. You'll see it's got a very kind of a casual feel. So if you don't want something super fancy feeling, that's what Kings Grant is. And so I love Kings Grant for that reason. And so it's like there's a certain charm to the lack of format what's the word for uniformity. Like the houses are different like the lots are different have different locations along the streets. You got it's a combination of large houses in some cases, real like upscale. If you go off of Prince Philip, like we just zoomed out of, if you get closer to the water, dropping a pin down on, let's just do Cloverdale Lane. See this it gets real foresty, which is why one of the reasons why I like it in here too, the trees. But this is awesome. This is well over 500. But I want to show you what's near here so you can see what Little Neck and what the higher price parts of Kings Grant are like, so you can know that when you get a house in and around 5 or less in Kings Grant, they're getting an area that is in demand for being close to this, and also all the schools, all the access to the rest of the area as well. And you're also about 12, 13, 14 minutes away from the beach, the ocean front. And so you're close to Virginia Beach Boulevard right here, Interstate 264, which gets you to 64. It takes you over to Norfolk, downtown Norfolk. You're about 18 minutes from downtown Norfolk, if not less, as well as 64. You're about, goodness, I mean, you're about 20 minutes or 25 minutes away from the base, Norfolk Navy base. You're also about 15, 17 minutes away from Oceana, but you're about 12, 15 away from the center of Virginia Beach. Even town center, you're only about, 8 minutes, 9, 10 minutes away max from there. So it's a great location as far as it being central to a very higher priced area, as well as central to the rest of Virginia Beach. And so it's easy to get to places. The shopping on Virginia Beach Boulevard it's you got everything. Sam's Club, BJ's. I'm just dropping a pin on the behind a bank because I missed my pin. There's Sam's Club right there, surprise. But I'm gonna do better with where I put my pin. But you can see this is just an example. Like you can go up and down Virginia Beach Boulevard, car dealerships, businesses, all types, apartments, some houses near the boulevard. But this is a long road that connects all through Virginia Beach, all the way to the edge of the ocean front near there. It turns into Laskin Road, or it connects with Laskin Road right here. But it continues all the way into Norfolk. East Virginia Beach Boulevard is over here in Norfolk, over towards the west part of Norfolk. It's a long road. And so Virginia Beach Boulevard is a very accessible spot. Once you get on Virginia Beach Boulevard, you can go just about anywhere through the center parts of multiple cities. So I like this area for that reason. I'm going to show you the pricing of Kings Grant so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. You'll see the wide range of prices. 44 houses in the last 6 months. So again, about eight per month. You can't see that because I did not did not share it with you. So let me try that one more time. There we go. So you see Kings Grant right here. There's 510, 550. Now you notice this for the price, you'll see some that are a bit smaller, like Queen Elizabeth Drive. Queen Elizabeth Drive is only 1,969 square feet, but it was over 500,000. So you'll see that this is very nice. But in general, just keep that in mind that the pricing for what you're going to get is going to be a bit higher per square footage in here. 550, 415. You'll see some over 6, like you notice that, because Kings Grant itself expands a larger map area. But I'm talking about the 5 range and less. Is as you get into kind of like the central, the west part of Kings Grant, that's where you see it kind of going over 5. And the prices start getting up over into 6 and 8. And you notice that this increasing. But if you go into the southern part of Kings Grant, they get much lower, under 5. You'll see them in the 4s and sometimes even high 3s. And the reason for the difference is that the school district changes across from one side to the other. Kings Grant Elementary School is on the closer to the far southeastern side. But then Kingston Elementary is here, and the Kingston School District is ranked higher online. You'll see that a lot online. So that's one reason why you'll notice it's ranked. It's a little bit more expensive for that reason. Now as well, though, you'll notice the flood issue, the flood question, which in this area, you notice it's not that big of a thing. It's X all through most of Little Neck in general, but also a lot of Kings Grant. You'll see some along the water sometimes, very, very specific spots. But even these spots that have AE along the edges of the water, that doesn't mean that the houses are in that zone, but it could. But most of the areas are in X. So if you're in Berkeley Place, Pelham, all these areas near the school, they're not going to require flood insurance right now based on it being in flood zone X. So I love Kings Grant for the lack of the concern of flooding, which is not a big deal in Virginia Beach anyway. But you also get the school, you get the feel of the neighborhood, which again, keep in mind, you're going to have to deal with that whole sewer line issue. Check your insurance policy for that. See if you can get that insurance if you need it. But in addition to that, I want to mention one more thing before I forget about Courthouse Estates. You'll notice that as we get into we're about 25 years into the ages of the maturation of that neighborhood. And as that happens, you'll see more houses that have had the turnover take place with more roofs, more HVAC systems, more water heaters that have been replaced, more windows. And so if you buy a house in the 25-year mark, you might find that house, even though it's 25 years old, has a lot of new things in it. And I was telling people a couple of years ago to be aware of this neighborhood because of the concern of the neighborhood or the house that might need a bunch of replacements in it. So you still have to kind of watch for that. If people have not done any replacements at all in the houses you see in Courthouse Estates, make sure that even though you're paying a premium for the house, make sure you keep in mind the budgeting for all those replacements to happen if you do find that they need to be done. So that's just going back to the Courthouse Estates thing. But in general, I do think that the main thing to keep in mind for a lot of these older neighborhoods is going to be the fact that a lot of them are going to need that sewer line insurance if need be. But with Las Scaviotas, that's not really an issue, and it's also there might be some spots that might need some replacement systems, but they're older, like they're in the 80s and 90s style, so they're not imminent necessarily. It just depends on when the last units were replaced. But anyway. Trade vlogs. Not to mention that the area has some nice apartment complexes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, especially as you go over towards Virginia Beach Boulevard or over towards downtown Virginia Beach and Town Center, there are some new complexes being reconfigured. They're going to actually put a senior center, but you're going to reconfigure Pembroke Mall, which is in the Town Center area, and I think that that's going to also influence the aesthetic of the area, because the malls in the area are starting to kind of get run down, and they're not necessary as much anymore. There's one that's in demand still as Lynn Haven Mall. The rest really don't have the same cachet as they used to, especially, Pembroke has been around for a long time, which is where downtown Virginia Beach is. That area is going to be converted. So you'll see some spots, some nice apartment complexes like Trey mentioned, they pop up in some spots. So I do think that, Virginia Beach Boulevard being close to there is pretty nice, but it's still an emerging area that's still getting developed and changed. So you guys, if you have any questions about this, has this been helpful to you? Does this type of live stream help with the types of houses, and also the pricing, the styles, the street views? Does this help at all? Comment below if you have any questions. If you have comments, if you're from the area, I want you to be able to let people know if you have additional feedback. If you're a local and people are looking to move here and live in Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads all the time, and I help people all the time relocate to the area. So just make sure if you have any comments at all, it can help. Let people know, because people do they read the comments, they want to know. And so if you can also as well hit that like button, it also shares to other people that might also like the video too. So if you like my videos, please comment. It really helps a lot. It spreads the word as well as the liking of the video. So Trey. I feel like this live stream has a great sense of feedback and tips, and would love to see more of it. Thanks, Trey. That's what I love it. Anybody concur with Trey? If you do, let me know. I love helping people. I'm going to be posting just some other videos as we go, but I love doing the live streams because it does helps me feel connected to you guys. Helps me get a pulse too of what people are looking for, what they're asking for. So anything you got that you need, look for, whether it be looking for a neighborhood in Williamsburg that you like in Lafayette School District, all the way to going to the border. Like I'm going to be posting a video next week about Pungo, about the revised pricing of Pungo. And so Jaylene, okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the feedback. So I'm going to be doing more videos, different types of videos. But anything else you've got, anything else you want to know, let me know. Feel free to comment below. And I just want to be able to give people as much info as possible. I think the MLS brings things into perspective. That's what I was thinking too. And I wanted to be able to kind of add some layers to it, because if you look on Zillow and Redfin and all that, it's fine, but it's often hard to distinguish what's really going on. So I'm glad I was able to do that as well. So I'll keep including that in the live streams too, as well as maybe other videos I want to. I'll try to include additional things like that as well. But any other questions you've got, please let me know. And I want to mention one thing about the neighborhoods themselves. I did my top 10, but there are a bunch of other neighborhoods. Oh yeah, Trey. Yeah, that's right. You asked about the Pungo video. That's why I was doing it next, actually. And I think it's a good one. I think it's a good one. I think all mine are pretty good, hopefully. But one thing about the neighborhoods in general I want to mention is that there are probably 10 to 20 neighborhoods that didn't make the list that I would consider, or I would say, honorable mentions. They're for various reasons they didn't make the list. It's almost like these are the top 10, but if you look at the top 20 or 30 or 40, you'll see similarities there and reasons why I may not have included them. But what I try to do in this list is to include some in the lower, like the 2 to 3 to 4 price range, and then some closer to 5. And then also, too, if people are looking over 5, they'd find other spots that they might like that are in the same parts of town as places I'm mentioning here. Like, for example, Kings Grant. Kings Grant has a lot of different varieties of price ranges in there and different types of houses. And so, if you're looking for $600,000 and $700,000, $800,000 price range as well, or $1 million and up, you'll find different things as I'm talking that kind of bring it all together. So that's why I liked doing. I was very strategic. I was trying to be strategic in the ones I like, the ones I listed, to give the most access and most information, as well as the ones that I think I do like. These are the ones I do like if you include the entire city. So it's an aggregate amount of information. Like the neighborhood that I live in isn't even in this list, but it's possibly one of my favorites. So that's why that's kind of what I mean there. So any other questions? And if you have questions and you don't, if you're watching later and you have questions, drop them in the main part of the comments section. You don't have to do it in the chat, in the live chat. Drop a comment below. I will do whatever I can to answer them, and other people will as well. You can also email me. I've got my contact information here. Where's my phone number here? That's my phone number. And also you can email me, and I've got that at sam@samsantalone.com, sam@samsantalone.com. That's all good. And you can do that. There's my website, or that's my email address, as well as my website is this, in case you want to browse the market. Or again, if you have questions, please reach out at any point, and I'll do whatever I can to help you, like I always do, help people relocate into the area from Virginia Beach through Williamsburg. And I think that's it for this evening. So if that's it, I will see you. The next video is Pungo, but I will see you on the next video.